All right, and welcome back. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building image experts right here on iHeartRadio. We also do a podcast here on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, and we're excited to announce that we're going out on Facebook. We're going out more on Boost, Post. We're doing archived videos there on our podcast, on our Facebook page. Now, we're also pushing that out to iHeartRadio, different streaming apps like Spotify and such. So those are starting to build up. You can go back and listen to prior shows here on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We also have a landing page that's going to be up and running very soon. So plug this in, contractortalkpodcast.com. You can shoot us an email requesting information. If you're in the Central Florida area and you're looking for a podcast room to tape, I was going to say to film, produce, or just do the audio here for your own podcast and then take it home with you on a little SD card, we're offering that here in the Central Florida area. It's in Altamont Springs. You can do your own podcast. You can rent the room out, request more information to our email address, info@contractortalkpodcast.com. All right, and very soon we're going to have all of our list of services on contractortalkpodcast.com on the website there. So stay tuned for that. And again, like our Facebook page for updates and information on what we got rolling out. So again, what we do here is we do a podcast show in which we have different guests to include not only Hans Kennan with Morgan & Morgan as our main chateau, I don't know what's going French there, Coupelette.
Chateau de knowledge.
Yeah, Chateau de knowledge.
Our house of knowledge.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't know if that's knowledge. I
didn't know where I was going with the Spanish.
España.
But other guests such as like Patrick Carr, contracting the industry, is also a Blue Collar Media, pushes a lot of information out in this world, in our industry here. Roofing contractors, restoration contractors, public adjusters, all alike that help consumers in this industry when they have a dispute against their carriers, when they call Hans Kennan and Morgan & Morgan. And we were just talking about how the heavy tort reform law changes recently is now a different conversation. When somebody calls Morgan & Morgan now, if they call his office and say, I have a property dispute, and it's a minor property dispute at that, whereas before, it's not a problem, we're going to take it. Let me just use an example of, like, say, a windshield client, an independent windshield guy that goes out and does this. Like, I don't even know I can only imagine the ramifications in that industry as of July 1st. Little sidebar, have you heard any updates from the independent guys in the window replacement world? Because where I was going to that is, like, they would come to you with just a couple $100 dispute. I mean, it would be hundreds of thousands of them, because it's well known that the insurance companies, when you show up as an independent glass guy, they're even telling you, we only pay 50% of nags. Mm-hmm. They just tell you up front, we're only going to pay you half of the amount that you're going to bill, which is in every like almost like the nags is like a little book. You go up and you're like, okay, 1997 Honda Accord, $750 to include the glass and your labor, and you go bill $750, and they're like, we're going to give you half of that. So anyways, and so the rest of that they have to bring to your office. You file suit, you get the $300, and then you get your fees and costs on top of that. What in the world is going on now?
Well, I can tell you, a lot of the smaller independents, unfortunately, have gone away. There was the Omaha Steaks guy. There was a guy in Florida, in Orlando area, for a long time, who gave you steak knives, different things if you got a windshield from them. A lot of those companies are just now gone. Almost all of the automobile insurers utilize SafeLight these days, which people keep selling, and I have to look it up a little more, but I believe is owned by an insurer and or a French guy. I'm somewhere between the two. I know the truth lies. But someone other than
a French State Farm guy.
There's something. There's some other name, and it's not Chateau, but there's another name out there. But a lot of people use SafeLight now, and actually your insurance policy basically will mandate you utilize their glass provider, which is what really put a lot of the small glass guys out of business. And they were actually very good, very responsive. One of my kids needed a windshield recently, got a stone in his. And I called up to a guy I know and said, hey, I need a windshield. And the guy was there like the next day. I mean, with the windshield, put it in, all went fine. But, Safe Light, you call, you make an appointment, you may have to drive to the place. You got to, it's just all that. It's really the customer service aspect. And a lot of the small guys, still had access to glass, and you can call them up, and, the wife would answer the phone, and they'd send it, and Bob would come up and go, hey, what's going on? Hey, I need a windshield. And take care of it. It was kind of nice dealing with, like I said, more of a small business mentality.
Yeah, so much for Republicans being for less government control and more independence out there from the business owners. And man, it's more or less the opposite way around, except just I mean, we got, less restrictive gun laws. But I'd rather take more restrictions against insurance companies than that. It makes no sense that you just get bought out by the insurance lobby and just be like, yep. And even then, you're not answering the consumer's problems about or questions about why is my premiums continuing to rise so much. Answer that, Governor. You're like, oh, might be a couple of years. That time I'm already going to be out of office and everybody hates me anyway, so I don't give a crap. So that's the kind of, intention I get from our governor right now. It's like the only message that I'm getting from him with his actions, besides I'm going to go to Iowa, I'm going to go to Tennessee, I'm going to go everywhere else except for deal with the problems that are here in the state of Florida that still exist, which is the ever rising cost of insurance. Yeah. And now we've got emboldened insurance companies that don't even care if they underpay you, deny you wrongfully so, because we know that the chances are even lower that they're going to call your office and file suit against them or even hire you to represent them because they feel like, well, I'm going to throw my hands up. It's going to cost me time and money to do it, and I need to move on with my life.
Well, you think about it. I mean, even just those generalized costs of homeownership, part of having a mortgage is you have to have property insurance. Property insurance, if you can't get any or people aren't writing for that product, then you have to get a forced place policy from your mortgage insurer, which only covers you up to the value of the mortgage and doesn't cover your personal property at great expense. So, I mean, at some point, this all becomes an issue of the ability to afford a home, afford the premiums. If you have a $5,000 or $6,000 insurance policy, which most people do these days, I would think that's $500 or $600 a month that some perhaps young person, younger couple is going to put on top of the note. Ends up being a lot of money. One thing real quick on the farmers issue.
Yeah, we're just talking about farmers insurance now. They admitted that they're now people are saying, oh, they pulled out. It's like, well, they're not renewing anymore. They made an announcement in January. They said no longer writing policies in the state of Florida.
June.
Did I read that wrong?
Yeah, not January.
Okay.
I mean, either way, but recently. Yeah. But they are going to continue. Their auto insurer is Bristol West. That's what I couldn't think of. And the home insurer is Foremost.
Oh, Jesus.
So Foremost.
Interesting.
Foremost tends to write for folks a lot of mobile homes, a lot of manufactured homes, things along those lines.
So I didn't know that they bundled. Is that how they bundled? Like, do they roll those up to farmers or something? The auto and the property?
I'm not sure. I know Petronas, who's the CFO, regarding Florida, said that, and it's been talked many times before, that you shouldn't be allowed to write auto if you own a property insurer and not write property. Auto always has a much higher margin with less catastrophic losses, obviously.
Right.
So the idea always was that you shouldn't be allowed to write one if you don't write the other.
Right.
And most insurers do, but this may be, I don't know if homeowner insurer Foremost would qualify, but that's often a good way to go about it is for the insurer. You got to take the good claims and the bad claims.
Right, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know Foremost was a sister company then.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I keep meaning to look this up. Someone had told me that Farmers was actually owned by Zurich. And that Zurich was actually the parent company of all these things. It's interesting, my insurance is
huge.
Yeah, Zurich, it's a monster. My insurance company is Truckers Exchange under Farmers, and I mean it's the oddest of names.
Do they own Chubb?
I'll look that up on the break, but I believe they're all tied to Zurich somehow.
Interesting. So again, he said that farmers will no longer be riding. Who knows if they're going to be back? We're going to take a break here on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We'll be right back after the break.